Welcome to Kaks Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon.
What an awesome day it is today. It's my name's Ernie Tsu. I'm from What It Takes podcast, and we've got a collaboration with our good friends at Kaks. Huge shout out to Sean and Cass for letting us use the studio again at the only podcast studio bar that is in Canada. So it's pretty cool. My guest today is Steven Yeng, owner of Skrewball Whiskey. We're pretty pumped that he's in town here in Calgary. He's doing a big tour of a number of locations, and I can't wait to see what it takes to get a peanut butter whiskey out in the market, but more importantly, the story behind. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Kats. And grateful to be here. I was actually kind of shocked that you showed some interest in freaking peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, well, it's hilarious. We were supposed to have an actual meeting today just about the product because it's going on our menu, but when Jason called me up, the rep saying, "Hey, we've got the owner coming through," I'm like, "Well, let's get him on." I'd like to see what it takes to get something like this to market. More importantly, how about the story, man? Like I've heard, like your story is crazy. Jason told me a little bit about it yesterday, but man, like from beginning to end to polio. Is it you had polio at one point?
Yeah, it's a crazy story. And first of all, Jason Osh is actually I think he's the mayor. There's like no one he doesn't know.
Yeah,
and it's just so again, grateful that Jason have introduced me to his friends. You all know each other. In Calgary, it's my first time. I fell in love with it. It's like a small town that everybody still are just together and supporting each other. Kind of like the rising tides floats all boat type of thing. I'm instantly fell in love with Calgary. So
yeah, it's a big city, small town attitude. But so, man, where are you from? And how'd this all start?
So we create the world first peanut butter whiskey, right? So
this is the first peanut butter whiskey that's ever been created in the world.
Existed in the world. Now there's over 54 peanut butter whiskeys right now.
Okay.
So throughout history, I like to call myself that lone nut, right? That lone nut. Throughout history, everything that that significant change in history or so starts out with a crazy idea or a nutty ideas, right? If it's just
no pun intended.
Yeah, right? a normal ideas and all that, everybody would think of it. But then it's not just an idea. It's an idea to, like, you have to have the passion to withstand the ridicule. I'm sure you all had heard of peanut butter whiskey. You're like, what the heck?
The passion to withstand the ridicule.
The ridicule.
That's awesome.
This is the dumbest idea that ever come to the liquor industry.
Yeah.
And then once people see that passion and believe in you, and now they want to make that idea into a reality. And so for me is that where it started. Why peanut butter? So life tends to takes you on a detour, throw you on curve, but yet leading you to exactly where you always meant to be. And so awesome. Things happen for a reason. You might not know it. So my background story is that I was born in Cambodia, third world country. My parents just survived a genocide that happened. And essentially a genocide that happened. Essentially, one inspiration why we call it Skrewball. A Skrewball is a misfit, a black sheep. And so hence you see our logo right there. If you see our logo right there, it's that black sheep leading a pack of white sheeps right there. And if we tell our parents growing up, we're going to be in the bar business, we're they want us to be doctors, engineers, lawyers, but we're selling booze
Asian.
and then yes, yeah. Asian. And instead we're like, I'm going to be in this. They're like, holy shit, we got a black sheep on our hand, a Skrewball. But you know what? We're no longer supposed to be by ourselves. Being that black sheep, we're supposed to hide, right? But we're front and center, leading a pack of white sheeps, right? But then we found our crew. There's the word KREW in there. We're not long supposed to be by ourselves. We found our crew, our team. And I truly believe if they try this, young, old, male, female, once they tried it, they're most likely going to love it. So also as homage to my grandparents who lost their life, essentially if you're a Skrewball is somebody that stand up for what they believe in, follow their own heart. So if you are trying to start a movement, and that's why there's a genocide that happened, If you wear glasses, if you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, that's your death sentence. And so my grandparents lost their lives, and unfortunately,
In the genocide?
in the genocide that happened, they were worked 23 hours a day, fed 10 grains of rice. Food was God back then. My parents my grandparents. I didn't say my parents. My grandparents, and then my parents survived that, but they were orphans after that. And so, but they always believe you have to be there when people needed help most. They'll come back to you tenfold. That's taught down from my grandparents, and so they would go catch wild games, bring it back, start their butchering company. My parents would start a little street food right there, and people were starving. If you try to exchange for a bar of gold for a banana, they said, absolutely no way, I can't eat gold. And so what they would do is make just enough, and then they said, pay us back when you can, pay us back when you can. Some people do. I mean, some people don't. Most people do. And they were able to grow their business to substantial, size, and they retired in the early 30s.
So it went from like a street food
Well, it was like
vendor
Chinese
to
butcher, Jackie Chan on the street and all that, but no health department, right? Dirt flying everywhere, flying. Shoot, no one cares, right? I'm just like my stomach's so thick and tough that I could eat anything, because I mean, you went from starvation. People resort to cannibalism and stuff like that. That's how bad it was, and unfortunately, history repeats itself. That's from 74, 79. It's not that long ago.
Right.
And so I was born in the mid 80s. And when I was around 1 year old, a similar like airborne virus was happening in like similar to COVID. I had high fevers, and all of a sudden that virus though contains polio. I truly believe I'm still the youngest polio victim in America. When you think of polio, you think about people in their late 70s, 80s, 90s.
And how old were you when you got this virus?
1 year old. Didn't know what was going on. My parents have freaking out. Is it black magic? What happened? Right? Because the child just woke up paralyzed. They're all normal. So my parents have taken me everywhere. My mom would take me everywhere, to the mountain, to any doctor to think they could cure. And where one of my toe on my right leg, where they bit like a piece of it off, like, hey, you're cured. Everything's all gold standards, right? Until one of the doctor set my mom straight. Look, your child had polio. Go to the third world where the medical is more advanced. So third world is the best world. So the third world country don't call themselves third world. They're the first world. So it's vice versa. Third world country is the best world in third world countries.
In terms of medical?
No. Like when we said so Cambodia is the third world country,
right?
They call themselves first world, and the third world country is the best world.
Wow.
So it's vice versa. It's a little confusing.
Crazy.
And so like most parents, they drop everything, and they decide at that time their life is over. I want to do what's best for my kids, right? And so they dropped everything and decided to leave the landmine borders of Cambodia. And took them 2 weeks into a refugee camp, crossing landmines. And there, you got to remember,
landmines. So that's what it takes. Like they had to move through landmines.
Yeah, the UN still was removing the landmines over in the 90s still, and we were in the late 80s trying to cross there, and you had to hire guides. And the guides, who knows? Because you're taking your worldly possession. You don't have any banks or anything, right? Everything is gold standard back then.
Yeah.
Money's worthless there. Cash, people are just burned. It doesn't matter anymore. And so what my dad did was that he broke one of the buttons for my older brother from a shirt, and basically give it to my uncle, and he had the other half. So we paid the guy half of it, and my uncle's like, bring me, they'll give you something, and once they're safe, they'll go and give you something, and then if it matches, then you get the other half. And that's how you ensure that we're safe. Instead, most likely we won't get killed, and then get killed in the middle of the road. So,
and this is when?
This is back in the mid 87.
So not that long, really that long.
No,
that's crazy.
And then so I think that what happened was that my mom was pregnant also with my little brother, and she slipped down a hill, and the guy was like, let's rest up. We didn't realize people were waiting to kill us and then steal the bandits and all that. They were known like, hey, if somebody of high profile is crossing the border. And so we end up snuck into a refugee camp in Thailand and there we stayed there for about 6 years, staying in line for food and water. And there's You can't leave. There's spikes everywhere. The most sought after commodity is wells. When it rains, that's your only access to fresh water, and it rains a lot in Thailand.
Wells.
Yeah, like a bucket, bowls, and then it catch rainwater, and then you could boil that. And also, it's just we found out that the bandit catch up to us a couple years later and shot up our roof of our hut. Then we actually went high, but they took my dad out, beat him half to death, broken eye sockets, ribs, everything. And then my older brother went to just beg them, broke his ribs, broke his arm. And then my mom, like, we gave you everything. What good is money? We're dead.
Yeah.
And so and they finally let us live, when we're like, hey, we gave them everything. So my dad, he was a butcher, and I remember as a pig butcher, we didn't have balls back then. We would play with pig's bladder, blow it up, and it's so tough.
That was your toy, a pig bladder.
That was like you bust your ball,
This is like late 80s.
Yeah.
So while everyone's listening to like NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys and
Madonna, no, that's 90s.
Yeah.
That's
that's
NSYNC not yet. So.
Not yet. No.
But
90s, anyways, while everyone's listening, like, for me, it would have been
pig bladders as my balls, and balls and balloons,
playing with a pig bladder
and
ball.
Then but my dad was he was known for the sausage that he makes using the pig intestines, and the casing, because I'm not a fan of. I mean, maybe Osh could agree to this. Is like those edible plastics not the same as the real intestines, right? And my dad, the way to get the best sausage, lak chuang wise, is you have to hand cut, not use a processor, hand cut to get that chunk. When you buy it, you see the meat in there, right? And a little fat. His secret ingredient was the Ricard absinthe. It got the spice. It got the similar note of the Chinese 5 spices in there. Back then it's like you all have this wine, your rice wine. Every family have a. My grandparents were rice plantation owners, so they all have like rice, just recipe of a rice whiskey, but then I'll throw herbs and all that, those jars, right? And they take it to marinate and stuff. But my dad's like, screw that. You know what? A little Ricard absinthe is the same thing. That's good. I don't have to age and go through all the process. And that was his secret thing, his secret recipe, because Cambodia is colonized by France. So he was able to have access to Ricard absinthe on that. And but then so he was able to once he was able to really recover, my dad, one of his hobbies in Cambodia when he was retired and all that, he took on ping pong. It was like he loved the ping pong. Ping pong hustler. And he was extremely good at it. But in Thailand he was able to get really recover. And
from the beatings?
After a month or so, like a couple of months, I'm not sure, but to recover, our only prized possession we have left was is our bicycle. And so that bicycle is, if you ever been to Cambodia, Thailand, or some of the third world country, you turn a bicycle into a minivan. So I'll show you.
We're talking about a pedal bicycle?
Right here. Look at this. That's
oh man, that is.
There's a one-seater, right, where it's just a bicycle, but then you fit 4 people in there.
You got to send this picture over to the Kaks boys, and we got to get this up for sure. This is it's a pedal bike.
Yeah, it's a pedal bike,
but a little minibus. Yeah.
So my dad would go to the ping pong hall and bet the bike, and he was able to hustle it, and then was turned to money, and then what he was able to do, turn that money.
Hustle playing ping pong,
and that's the only thing we had left.
Yeah.
Right, and then he was able to somehow got some meat, some porks, and all stuff, and then a bottle of Ricard absinthe. And with that Ricard absinthe, he was able to make the sausage and was able to bring it to one of the generals over by a hospital that's run by Thai, and they had guards and all that stuff, and then just gave it to him. He loved it so much. Like, if you could make me some more of that, then I'll let you. I'll find you a place to stay. So we were given a place to stay. It was less than 100 feet from the morgue, but it was just like wood planked. But we were we can sleep. We have to sleep like where to fit more people. There's the 5 of us, and our legs are dangling, but at least we were safe and we were guarded. So we have to we get there before sunset and we have to leave before sunrise. We did that for 6 years, and we thought we never would get sponsored until after 6 years, got sponsored by Ram Out to Kindness by a couple that wanted to do something nice, didn't have kids, and
A couple from
San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, Greg and Debbie, and they just want to do something nice, and they went through a bunch of stuff, and you know what? They somehow picked us. And when
That's
we came to the
amazing.
U.S., all we had was trash bags, and that's our luggage. We didn't have any. We got trash bags. We got that. I remember didn't speak a single word of English. I needed to take a piss. What do I do? I just zip my pants up and down.
How old
using
are you
sign
this
language.
time? 6 years later?
I was like seven
Yeah,
and a half,
six-
almost
yeah.
8. So, and
Now we're entering the early 90s. Yeah.
yeah, and about 93. So, and back then though, my legs started deteriorating because of polio, because the muscle won't grow, my legs growing shorter than the other. And how I get by was little is use sandal in each hands and just crawl. So that's how I was able to get how I got by. I got to U.S. and we were on a refugee status I-94, and then it's like your right to live in the country was renewed annually. Good behavior, no government assistance, and so my parents was able to find work at a donut shop. So,
Rewind for a second. The couple that sponsored you, how did they pay for you guys to all get over here?
yeah, and
Flight,
sign that they're financially responsible for us, and being over responsible for if something happened.
So
they're
in
going to.
this world of such diverse polarity,
Yep.
this existed. This is something that, like, when we look at all the negative blowback on Twitter and everything that's negative, there's a couple out there that has never met you
Yeah.
and sponsored your whole family to come
Yep.
over
Yep. And vouch for us.
and vouched for you.
Yeah. Never met us. Never been on a phone or
From
anything
San
like that.
Diego, were they churchgoers? Were they
No, they didn't have kids. They couldn't have kids, and they just want to do something nice. They were like the sweetest people in the world,
It's
and they just
amazing.
want to do something. He was a mailman,
That's
and then one
yeah.
is a scientist, and they're not loaded. So then they help us get a job over at a donut shop called OB Donuts, and there it's like you see a lot of Southeast Asian, especially in California, take over a donut shop because it's nobody wants to work there, right? It's like you make very little, like 2-3 cents per donut, long hours, but you don't need.
When you say long hours, what would long hours be?
My dad would work from 9 p.m. to like 11 a.m. and have a 3-4 hours sleep and go back and close. And then, you got to make his daily fresh. Then you got to make the muffins and the Danish to let the yeast rise. By the time you come back at 9, then you there's ready to bake and stuff like that. And there's none of those machine like Krispy Kremes and all that.
Yeah.
Everything's made by hand, right? And I mean, my dad have all this burnt marks everywhere from a trays pulling out. His hand when he was trying to get fingerprints.
Yeah.
Right. There was no fingerprints.
Turned into chef's hands.
The donuts, when you get it out of the fryer, right, you have to get it hot because when it's hot, when you put in the sugar, that's easiest to get out. So you have to like move really quick on that.
Manually.
And so when he got no fingerprint, I'm like, what the heck is this guy? What happened? Is he part of like the triads or something with no like fingerprints and stuff? But my parents suffered through that, where I said their life is over, is something that how many parents done that? Actually, a lot of parents done that. And we didn't realize that. I was younger. It was like my parents decided to give up everything to move to the U.S. when they already retired, to work like their ass off, and now to always be dependent of their kids when they're in foreign places, couldn't speak English, they need translator everywhere, couldn't understand anything. And that was the sacrifice that I didn't fully grip until when I was older. And we end up living in a car, and it was a sports car. I remember 1983 Toyota Supra, and a family of 5
A Supra.
with a Supra, where now it's cool and all that.
And how
It's
did you
the
get?
worst.
How did you guys come by that car? Like,
It was given to us from a church. Yeah.
crazy.
So when it rains, we need to put
I know the
trash
Supra.
cans that you need to put like a trash bag to put like bricks on that where it doesn't leak and stuff like that. And we can't lay back like that. We have to sit,
Mhm.
and then this donut shop, the owner decided to, and Atkins diet, everybody's on this low carb Atkins diet in the 90s. and they decide, you know what, we have enough of this. People are just, I'm going to move to places no one care. So they moved to Michigan, Detroit, and no one cares about their weight or anything. And then they were going to shut it down. My parents begged them if they could take it over. They didn't have enough credit, so our sponsor co-signed that. So we're able to now own a donut shop.
Sponsor brought you over.
Yep.
And they co-signed your loan for the
Yep.
donut shop.
Yep. Co-signed the lease to take it over. And out from that was, we've at first I was like, God, this is the worst thing, right? So my name have evolved, from my Asian name to Steve Yang to Jelly Roll, because then I imagine you have no food, you eat all the donuts, you got fat, to Steve Noodle, and now Steve Skrewball. I don't know what's next.
Yeah.
But from there though, I learned for a lot of Asian parents, especially people that went through a lot of hardship, you're expected to help your parents out, right? You can't enjoy it if your parents are working their ass off. And so after school or weekends, and every weekend after school, I always work, always go back, no matter what. If I can't do the heavy stuff, I would be full in boxes, refill stuff, and or do helping with the muffins, putting the toppings on all.
So you're probably in that 8 to 11-year-old range.
Yeah, 10, 11, stuff like that. I mean, but in this process time, I was trying to get surgery, and I had about 6 surgeries where they cut my bone in half with all the pins going through
on your legs,
and then to lengthening the bones and stuff like that. And you know what? I remember going through like those gas that puts you to sleep. It's the worst thing ever, but I didn't mind it because there I actually was able to get food. I was able to get some basic cables, and was able to get food
at the hospital.
At the hospital, I was like looking forward to getting hospital food.
Everybody complains about hospital food, and you're looking at it. Yeah,
when we didn't have anything.
It's amazing.
So, but from there though, we've I learned so much about hospitality, so much about hard work, so much about giving back. Also, my parents have never turned down charity. My parents have first day of school, last day of school,
and obviously this couple that brought you over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so then they wanted me to get a job that would be off my feet. Unfortunately, I have severe ADD, but it wasn't diagnosed at the time, and so I was just really bad at stuff. I was bad at math and in school.
Back to your legs at that age, so were you able to walk at that time, or were you still...
I was in a wheelchair quite often, and then I was bullied and stuff. The kids, they didn't know at the time, all the hardships gone through, and I was being called certain names that I didn't know, because remember, when you're trying to learn English, no one's teaching you all the bad words. I was called a chink, a gook, and all that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what it was. What is that? Mm-hmm. Right? Because we were not taught that. But just going through all that hardship and stuff, I think I would never change. I wouldn't change everything. That it just keeps us humble. Mm-hmm. And so after, after just going to college, right, and just fell in love with hospitality. Opened up my first bar at 22, bar and restaurant.
How did you grind your way through college? How did you even get tuition for college? Because that's part of what it takes, right?
Yeah,
so
I went through community college first, and it was very cheap there, and then afterwards, you just need a 2.5 GPA to go to UCSD. So it was we're in San Diego. I'm like, shoot, I just went through that, and I just show up for midterms and finals. I was just hoping to just pass.
Yeah.
And so, but then I started doing real estate, but I would just focus. I got my license at 18. My first job was working at a bank, and I was just 25% above minimum wage. And I'm counting all this money, and I'm just kind of and I need to do something else. Got into real estate, but I was, have acne, oversized suits, and all that. I got to do something else, right? Because of an image. So I started doing, business brokers, selling bars, restaurant, gas station. I was actually really good at it.
So you went from residential real estate to commercial real estate?
Business opportunities.
Was there a mentor that pulled you into that? Or?
I would just wing it. Just wing it and learn it. And then
who hired you? Was it a brokerage? Or?
Real estate is kind of a pyramid scheme. The more of whoever, they'll just get a bunch of new agents, and hey, I'm sure you have a friend, a family, someone you could sell a couple of houses to,
right?
And then there's nothing out of it, and they'll take a big cut from that. And so, but then what I learned was the contract is only one page, when you don't have much competition and stuff like that, and I was selling a lot of donut shops that was going out of business. They were like 8-10 grand, and I was able to learn and learn how to convert that to Thai restaurants and other restaurants, because essentially got the grease trap, the hood essentially. You just got to change that to a type 1 to a type 2. And then applying for a beer and wine is easier than a liquor license, and a lot of Asian restaurants don't need liquor license.
So was there anybody helping you along the way to figure that out on the commercial real estate side of things?
Nope, just winging it, and then just learning about that, because it's just, when I look at contracts that's available online, it's just one pager.
Yeah.
So I've actually gotten very good at it. And then I came across this restaurant that was in Ocean Beach, and I was at 22. I just, you know what? I just want to do something. I truly think that, but the lease was so cheap. It's a block away from Pacific Ocean. It's $800 a month. And I was like, I signed a 20-year lease. Every 5 years, it increased $100, because nothing ever made it there. And so I was like, you know,
but it was a block away from
Pacific Ocean. Yeah. So, but back then, Ocean Beach is very blue collar. Ocean Beach is about 10 minutes from the airport downtown, right. And so didn't know what I was doing, but I put my love of peanut butter. So when I came to U.S., I'm not sure, I was told we're skin and bone. We're always given basket of food, the couples and stuff like that.
Peanut butter always be in those baskets.
It would always be. We are given fruit, bread, and peanut butter. So for me, peanut butter is that taste of freedom for me when I came to U.S. And you don't need refrigerations or anything. And so, and we live off peanut butter.
Man, that's so well said, because when you look at the food packages now in the charity, it's always peanut butter. Yeah. Still to this day, there'll always be, and mind you, there's like the vegan peanut butter that's coming in there, because there's so many peanut allergies. But man, even now you see it's peanut butter for sure.
I'm not sure you said it was a 45-minute podcast.
No,
right?
we're going way longer. Man, let's go.
So,
let's go. This is what it's all about, because at the end of the day, it's how it came to this.
Yep.
Right.
So I went into the restaurant business, put my love of peanut butter and everything, and wings and noodles and fried rice. I was featured on Guy Fieri's making peanut butter and wings and stuff.
Wait, you're featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and
like multiple times.
Dives?
Yep.
And so talk about that restaurant. What was the name, capacity of the restaurant?
Yeah. So
and this is the one block away from the
and so my brother and I, my brother and I, my old brother, he decided to, drop out of med school and just because he was living his life as if my parents wanted him to be, and he wasn't happy and stuff like that. And so he was valedictorian, valedictorian in his class and stuff like that.
How old are you guys at this point?
I was 22, he was 25.
Right.
So, I talked him to doing this. And so that restaurant is called OB Noodle House. I'm always a big believer when you're trying to do something and nothing ever made it. You need to just have it in the name and where it is. OB is Ocean Beach, Noodle House. What is it? So it just explains itself, right?
So if I looked up Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, OB Noodle House is in those. That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
And so
So what was the food? What was
Asian
the food?
Fusion. Asian fusion from
that Guy Fieri down
to
there.
Like a lot of peanut stuff. I mean, it's Asian fusion, street foods and stuff, but with whiskey and stuff. And so I put peanut butter in everything, including Jameson.
So you're putting peanut butter
in Jameson,
in my favorite whiskey in the because when I was coming up in the industry, I mean, everybody in Calgary knows me for Jameson's. It's like that's my stick. It's like, to a negative. Almost like, don't go visit Ernie. He's going to want to do around a Jameson. So what were you doing? Were you stirring peanut butter and Jameson's? And thank God we didn't meet back then, because I would have kicked you in the nuts. If I had saw peanut butter going into Jameson's, I would have been like, that is blasphemy. Like,
and a lot of my bartenders said that also.
I have a hard enough time with pickleback.
Until they said, a lot of my bartenders have said that. And then until like, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm revolting. They expect me to take scoops of peanut butter and put Jameson in there and you know how
Like, would you do it in a
stickiness
bucket or?
well, we started initially just shaking it one by one, and with the
Oh, so
stickiness
it'd
and
be a
all that.
shake and shot with
Oh,
peanut
well, it
butter.
was dry shake, and then you throw in the ice, and then you pour it, and then all the process. And we're charging for $5, and then it's like we'll see how it goes, and then it worked, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I need to come up with a better way.
A dry
to,
shake of Jameson's over. So was it a shot?
Yeah, it's a shot. Yeah.
So it must have been chunky.
No, you have to dry shake it. Like I mean,
Oh
our
my
muscle got big. So and then after I
Damn you!
we figure out how
hate this.
to how to just speed it up, put in pictures and all that stuff. And when I mean, there's days we'll do $10,000 of that shot alone, of PB&J.
So
And
what?
so-
wait. This PB&J, which was peanut butter and Jameson's,
Yep.
right? Because everyone's thought on a PB&J shot,
Yeah.
it was like with Chambord Royale, Frangelico,
No,
right? You know, Depeche Mode's playing in the background, right? So
Yeah.
yours was peanut butter and Jameson's, and you were doing how many people were ordering these? And what year was this? About
late 2014, and then going on to 2015.
2014, 2015 is when this
Yeah.
PB&J
So
hit.
we actually did. So there's an article that one of my bartenders convinced me to go on this bar competition. It's called Barmageddon, and this is like I mean I've been on Food Network before.
Barmageddon.
Food Network like for 3-4 years before that, and with Guy Fieri's and stuff. And then this is like, so check this out. It's July 17th, 2015.
Please get
And-
that over
and
to
so-
Sean and Cass for this
Yeah,
episode.
and
Like
so-
that's awesome. Let me see that
I
again.
didn't want to do it, but they said the winner gets $10,000.
And
right.
what was it? Was it a cocktail competition or was it
Cocktail? Well, I was like basically like wife swap, but bar owner swap, and they have to like go over to the other bar nearby and raise their historic numbers, and whoever had the highest
Sales in one
in
weekend or 1 week?
that was historic, then in 1 week would win 10 grand. And so I was like, shit, I'll go there. And then I did that's when I introduced, this is early
Whoa,
2015.
stop. I want to make sure I
Yeah.
have this right because this Barmageddon,
Yep.
like amazing concept, by the way. I might have to steal this and re-erupt it. Like, oh, it's just we have to fire this up. But it is 1 week of sales, which would be the record weekend sales for that week.
Yeah.
And if you beat that week, you're winning the 10 grand.
Yes.
That is crazy.
So this is,
That's
look at this.
awesome.
Look at me shaking with peanut butter. Right?
And
And,
look-
Jameson, see the bottle of Jameson? And
So
peanut
you
butter
look the
itself.
exact same, except you've got like the fro, like the hair is just
well,
more down.
That's,
this time.
that's like
that's
shit.
the blessing
like
of
a decade.
yeah.
A decade.
Being
Wow,
Asian.
thank
right?
you. Yeah. And so but then the thing was that, you know what? I want to do something nice, and so dominated, crushed them. I think they sold 4 or 5 of their cocktails we created. I sold like almost like 250 or 300 shots of what I did.
Of the PB&J.
Of PB&J.
So the
Won 10
PB&J
grand.
was what won you the 10 grand.
10 grand.
Peanut
And-
butter and Jameson's.
Yep. Peanut butter and Jameson. And then I've donated to OB Elementary School, which is a block away from the donut shop. And this is also where my wife and I went to school and met. And so we donated to,
Well, how much did you donate?
all of it. Actually, I'm
so
going to
you-
give you a background story on that.
You want wait.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. Stop right there.
Yep.
So you enter this competition.
Yep.
With your peanut butter and Jameson shot. You win the competition for 10K. You came from nothing. Polio took your legs away, basically, and you take all 10 grand and give it to the elementary school that you grew up in.
I did.
That
And
is fucking amazing.
well, it was I mean, it was great, but I'm not very organized. And so here you go. Here's a check. Check this out. 10 grand. And so
Man, you got to send that to me.
I didn't
please.
get the check, and I
You got to
remember
send that. That's
once it
unbelievable.
aired and stuff like that, I didn't
in these times right now,
Yeah.
honestly, in these times of negativity, that check right there gets me right here. That's no bullshit. Like
so the teacher back then and still today is that they have to buy their own supplies. They have to buy, their goods and have their own money.
what? Whoa. Teachers
Yeah.
have to buy their own. What do you mean
like
by
art
supplies?
papers, books, and stuff. Because there's a lot of
Even
budget
now,
cut.
like right
Yeah.
now.
Yes. I mean, Yeah, and so back then it's 2015. So I was in between moving, right? And the teacher, they needed some stuff, and I'm like, screw this. I'm not going to wait until I get the check. I'm just going to write $10,000 check. So I'm right.
Sidebar.
Yep.
When you took your winnings and wrote the check to the,
I didn't get the check yet.
Okay.
So
when you gave the $10,000
Yep.
to the elementary, how was your bar doing at that time?
Oh, we were doing all right, but another one was, so the first one we crushed it, but then it was small. So I just opened up another bar,
So
4 blocks down.
location number 2, yeah.
4 blocks. It's called Bar 1502 Noodle House, because I can't have OB Noodle House 1. So Bar 1502, 15 is O is the 15th letter of the alphabet. B is the second letter of the alphabet. So Bar OB Noodle House. But I just don't want to be confused. My thought was that we had a long wait all the time. Normally 2-3 hours wait every given night. So then I was like,
overflow down.
So
there,
my thinking was that if they're already here in this town, why not just go 4 blocks down instead of putting another town? And then people laugh at that, and then it actually worked. It still worked. They're both busy. But so so this check, I didn't wait until I get the check, and I was in between moving, right? So then I wrote the check to Miss Cindy, which is my 3rd grade teacher, which I'm still connected to. And then I wrote a check to her. And then
the $10,000 check was to your 3rd grade teacher then?
Yeah, for the school, for the teacher to decide. I didn't want to give it to the school. It was for a teacher.
Because the teacher had to buy their own supplies back then.
There's 20 teachers, each get $500, right? And that's so awesome. What I just discovered of his check is just sad. Is that, I paid the taxes. It was 50%, I believe. It was like when you win, like prize money is 50%, just like lottery and stuff like that. And then I was going through my drawer when I was moving, right? And I was like, crap, what is this check? I forgot to deposit it. I found it like 3 years later. And I paid taxes, I donated, and this check was never cashed. And the show was canceled.
What?
Yeah.
So you're actually, after taxes, you probably gave about $15K.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then you're not getting any of it back because you didn't cash the check. So you're like $25,000.
And I thought they would have reconciled.
Oh, man. Are you sure you're Asian?
Dude, I am the wrong Asian. I don't smoke. I don't gamble.
How is a check sitting in your drawer for $10K
when you have a pile of paper and stuff?
Like, I remember it was so bad when I was like bartending in the nightclub industry, and me and my roommate had a bet. We're like, who's going to cash the paychecks first? Because we're making so much tips.
Yeah, this is not a check. This is not a check, right? And many times I was like, so those are like, so now I gotta get into the whiskey. So I end up,
so you got the PB&J.
PB&J, we're crushing
you donated this check. You're probably how old now? 25? Like,
yeah, 20 some. Yeah. So, and then, Mary, my high school sweetheart, really, like, everything was great. She went on to, she was that model minority my parents wanted to be. She went to University of Chicago, got a master in chemistry, went on doing pharmaceutical patent litigation for pharmaceutical company.
We still got to understand something. Like,
yeah. And she's white. So I know, what? Right? She's that model minority.
But I wanted to say this, like, regardless of whether she's white, but it's like Asian parents, especially the ones that had to work so hard to get out of that type of situation.
Yep.
You're right. Like, and I'm not talking about just Asian parents, immigrant parents that have gone through any of that. Like, yeah, that's white.
Yeah, she's pretty white. Yeah. She's like girl next door, and I was like way over Mary, but I'm like,
and you met her
elementary school.
But back to what I was saying, it's like, you and your brother get into the industry, the hospitality industry, when your parents fought so hard that they want you in those roles, a hot doctor,
want an easier life,
lawyer, yeah.
And so how it comes to this peanut butter Jameson.
2 bars at that time.
Yep. Yeah, 2 bars at that time, and then my dream project was a nightclub. And I love
before the peanut butter Jamesons.
No, afterwards. So I opened up with my brother another spot. So everything's the donut shop, my house, the both restaurants and the nightclub bar. It's all within 4 blocks of each other. So that was just the best commute, right? And then so this
You're just
place,
walking from location
and I
to
have
location.
the biggest. So when I came to the U.S. in the '90s, there was Tupac's and Twisters, Busta Rhymes, and all that. And imagine you not speaking English, can't understand to it. I gravitate toward country music and also Irish music. And because you could listen to it, they have meanings, that story, and it was a little slower, right?
There's always
And
a story
so-
behind country music, yeah.
Yeah, and then Irish music too. I love that rebellion, I love the stuff that goes through it. And it's really fun.
Does that
And-
have anything to do with the Jamesons, or?
Yes, also 100%. And also, so imagine this: a Cambodian refugee own a bar called Gallagher's.
So the nightclub is called Gallagher's?
I bought an Irish bar called Gallagher's, and I want to run it as an Irish bar. But in San Diego, when you're that close to the beach, the only thing that really works is reggae music.
So
and
how is your English when you owned this nightclub?
Oh,
Because
sure. No, it's just good.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
I've been-
it's like
What did you expect me to be like?
no, because I'm
where
just
you
thinking
come
about,
from? What
you
your
just
name?
think about how uncomfortable you can make people. It's like, yeah, my bar is called Gallagher's. Gallagher.
I can't roll the R, like
Yeah.
brother,
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that.
They're
So
like, pardon me.
yeah,
So you have an Irish bar.
I could speak.
So what was the uniform like? Was it kilts? Was it skirts?
We were always big. So how I hired, and I think I'm a true big believer, is that have common sense and have a heart. That's it. We don't care what they look like, age, sexuality, little guy, fat guy,
Awesome.
old, doesn't matter. And to this day, we still have well over 90% of the people that been there from day one are still there. Yeah, and that's unheard of for restaurant industry.
Yeah, that is unheard
And
of.
so then I was crushing it, and then the thing is that we were living opposite lives. My I'm not sure how many people are married to a high school sweetheart, or how many people was married to a high school sweetheart.
9 to 5 versus 9 to 2 a.m.
Yeah, but she's probably more. She was leaving home before sunrise because we're on the West Coast, and she's working a lot of East Coast, so 3 hours ahead already.
Mhm.
So when you're at 6, they're already 9 starting working.
Mhm.
And so I was sometime getting home by around that time,
Mhm.
right? And so we struggled to become parents. And then when she was blessed with our daughter that we thought we would never become parents, it essentially was peanut butter was the glue that brought us together. And that's the moment we said, screw it. And that's the screw it for us is the moment to stop asking ourselves why and start asking ourselves, why not? Why not do this? And so we decided to choose family, and we were happiest together when we were working together. And so we said, let's all go in and see how hard could this be.
So your wife is in the Skrewball too?
Yeah, she developed it. She did the branding, she did the name, and she did everything. Like, look, without my wife, there would be no Skrewball.
That is amazing. Man.
Yeah, so using her chemistry background and many things. So when you try to bottle the world's dumbest idea, how many people want to put their name on it?
But wait a second. The world's dumbest idea with an emotional attachment to
But
that.
people don't know that emotion, though.
Right?
Nobody knows.
But story, like...
But people don't know it. I guarantee you, probably, 90% of people that is our fan have no clue.
Man,
the
I can't tell you how
this.
pumped I am that I found out this full story. Like,
yeah,
when Jason had brought it to me, I was like, what? Peanut butter whiskey? Are you crazy? But when I had it, and for me, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter whether I like it. I want my staff taste it, and I'll get a true sense of how's this going to fly on a Friday or Saturday night. And but to hear the emotional attachment to why the peanut butter whiskey, not just about making the money off of the PB&J, but because, in that basket, when you come over and you have nothing, it was always peanut butter. Yeah. And that is unbelievable. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's passion behind product.
And so it took us, I was using the bars and restaurant when I was going back to, like, nobody want to put their name on the dumbest idea, right? So we call many R&D companies, many like bottles, labels, and all that. None of them returned their calls. Majority of them actually never tried and they couldn't do it.
Yeah, so the developers, the recipe developers.
Yeah,
right?
and they're like, peanut butter is the single hardest ingredient. You ever try one of those like health bars or proteins that doesn't use real peanuts on that, right? It doesn't taste like it.
Right.
And so, two things normally happen with those R&D company. They either put us on mute, laugh their ass off, or they would never return our calls. So with Brittany and using her background, and she was able to really develop something that have never been done before, doing our garage
Chemistry?
and stuff, using our chemistry and stuff, and using real peanuts. You have to. The only way to get real peanuts.
Did you develop this at home then?
Yeah.
Like when you started out, I'm not saying when it got to market. I'm saying when, because no R&D company was going to touch it.
No. Yeah.
Right. And it's probably during the massive peanut butter allergy craze.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't, and that's not a negative. One of my best friends who just had his 50th birthday, he's got a very, very severe EpiPen on him at all times, peanut allergy. But so when you develop this recipe and the taste and the flavor, you had started at home using chemistry.
Yeah, and then I would bring it to the bars because each week I get thousands of new people coming in. I have access to legal drink age 21, so I call that young, right?
Yeah.
Or the older, the seniors, the early diners coming in, and just male, female, and they're like, hey, try this, right? And people I want to see this demographic, and it took us about 164 iterations to get to this. And from there, my wife, we started at a distillery.
Which distillery gave you a chance on this?
No, we had so there's called alternative proprietary, where we have a distillery also, and we work opposite days, and we bought a bunch of our equipments and stuff so we started.
So you started your own distillery?
Yeah, with that. So
man,
and then
awesome.
and so. Well, it's called an AP licenses, so we only have 4 bottle fillers, and I just got a bunch of our teams of misfits, our team of screwballs and bartenders that became my lifelong friends.
Were you using a rolling label machine for the
No,
bottles?
because we didn't know anything about anything, right? So we started with a stock bottle. Our label's big, and then our quality control guy is cross-eyed, and he's we're the label's all crooked. It's so big, you have to put it on wrong because the label's too big. That there's no machine, there's none of those label. I know what you're talking about. You pedal, you step on the pedal.
Manual one,
this is by hand and our eyes, and then we take a credit card to take out the bubbles and stuff like that. Those are some of the stuff that
credit cards to file down the bubbles.
Yeah, to file down bubble because our thing was so big and stuff like that. And but we literally just hey, let's do this together. And then these guys follow me, the blind leading the blind, and eventually we went. Yeah.
You gotta get that. That's awesome.
So eventually, my wife would wear our jar and on her back and would go blend and just go blend and mix and stuff. Fortunately that our jars have a lot of brain cells to kill, I guess, because with all the acetones and all that stuff right there. This is literally, we just had to do it all, and without even. With no support, with no one helping us, and
how many hours a day?
I'm telling you, there's days we'll do 22 hours,
like from blending to labeling to 22 hours.
22 hours on my feet and stuff like that. Yeah. But my team of the bar staff, whoever was hey, do you want to come and help? I can't pay you that much, but it's minimum wage because all the whiskey you.
And what would minimum wage be for them to come and help you?
$15 or something.
$15.
And a lot of them never even cash their checks because they didn't want to do it. They're like, dude, I'm here to support you. You've been good to us, and that really. And I know that didn't cash it, but we were so broke that we couldn't. I just be like, I remember that. I remember that and stuff. They're just, hey, I'm just going here and come and help. I'm having fun. Those are long hours. And we had to do it all ourselves, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I'll tell when people ask how do you do it. I don't know how, but I could tell you what not to do. I made many mistakes, and our timing is impeccable. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, from government shutdown to COVID to really everything. Right?
Okay, back it up. So you started developing this what year?
We started, with the PB&J, the
Right.
peanut butter Jameson.
When you started to try to take it to liquor stores to market, what year would that have
We
been?
started that in 2016.
So just just
But
prior
we
to
were
COVID
trying to
hitting.
bottle peanut butter Jameson before that.
Right.
One, Jameson says, no, we're not interested in it. Hey, can I have a meeting with that? We're like, no, we're not interested in this concept. Because I didn't know anything about it. And they said, no, we're not interested in it. Second, it was like, I thought I could just bottle like the creamy version. The one version, the thing was creamy, but really, like when I looked at all how you bottle it and going through the fillers and all that, there's absolutely no way. There's no way you could do that because of just filtrations and all that. So we have to pivot to something clear, and and that's when we have to pivot towards this right here, and from there though, you know, it was difficult. We sank in everything into it. My wife left her job,
Sank in all your financial,
and
Okay.
at the time, the Irish bar didn't work out. I ended up demolishing it, so I was building the nightclub at the same time. And the reason why I went I just wanted, let me just do this project until the bar's getting built, and I didn't have the heart, and then I had so loyal people. I didn't have the heart to tell them go find another job at that bar nightclub, the guy, the Irish bar.
Mhm.
Didn't have the heart to tell them go find another job, and I promise I'll hire you back once it's built up back up. Construction could take forever, right? So some of the places I place in those restaurants, bars, managers, and some of the managers, I just overstaff, but I know that the other managers have always been there for me. So at least I'll give them, I'll make them part time, but still pay in full. So, and that's was kind of like our thinking. So we overstaffed, but I didn't want those
So you
guys to
ran
go.
extra high labor costs just so you could hold on to this
And
team.
then I want to create something so while those guys could do something to help me out and have some cash flows going on at the same time, even though it's not much, but still some cash flows, like the door guys, the busters, and stuff like that, the bouncers and stuff like that. And so, when we launched this, and the bars and restaurant we have was always industry centric. We always take care of industry. We always
Industry staff.
help support.
man.
It's just like we were a place when they're off, or
I love that industry
they
staff.
come, and like our staff, our team goes to our place to eat and drink also when they're off, like always. And we're just like, God damn it, guys, don't you have somewhere else? No, this is family, And so from there, so remember when I started with the lone nut idea, right? The craziness and all that stuff. These bartenders, a lot of bartenders want end up going to being in real estate or something, or else how many supplier comes to you? Yeah, I could do this, right?
Liquor rep.
But then instead though, it's not the right timing, or they're not in that stage of their life. So essentially we were that lone nut, and these other bartender service industry was inspired by us to really go all in on it. So they're pretty much living their dream through us and promoting us
Vice versa.
to succeed. And it would weren't for the industry, we wouldn't be here today. And the bartenders, we got into about 500 accounts immediately, and some of the toughest account, the high
When
value
you say
places,
immediately, 500 accounts in what a span
we
of time?
pretty much got 99.9% going to the account, and people, yep, I'll bring it in.
in 1 year, in 6 months, and
like a month and a half, 2 months, maybe
6 to 8 weeks, you were in 500
Yeah.
accounts.
and
Wow.
and in some of even like the airports, the zoo, San Diego Zoo, Harris casinos. I mean, those are some like high
So
pay to play
It
stuff.
got by word of mouth. It started off with the industry staff,
Yep.
who filtered into other.
No, those are run by industry stuff
Yeah.
also, and they're like, dude, we want to see you succeed. And from there on, we were making headways and stuff like that, but we got doubt, right? They're like, oh, it's a San Diego thing, right? And then we launch in other little pockets. Oh, it's a West Coast thing, and then
The West Coast, East Coast thing is still a thing.
Yeah. Well, nobody, like, this is the dumbest thing: peanut butter and whiskey, right?
Mm.
And so then, we have just gone through hell. I mean, I remember December 2018. $1,500 to our name, and I remember.
Wait, say that again. In 2018,
Yeah,
how much?
$1,500 to our name.
$1,500.
We got a newborn. Right? And or a toddler, and my wife left her really good paying job. I was making great money also, and then and now we're doing everything by hand, but then went through just so much production issues and everything like that, and so every money counts, every cent counts and stuff like that. We didn't even have I remember that December we maxed out our credit card. We needed glass, and then the glass company forgot to ship it overseas, and they wouldn't refund the money. They said, "Oh, we got 6 months to make it right." I'm like, "Absolutely! If you have no product for 6 months, and you're done, right?" And so stuff
Especially
like that.
if you're in 500 accounts.
Yeah, like stuff like that. It's just extremely tough. And but somehow, finally they did the right thing to like just refund us back, because we were just on such borrow times. I remember my parents would drop off diapers and like food and from like Costco's and stuff, but not just saying like like what parents do is like, yeah, I know you're busy, but I'm just dropping some stuff off for you. And we accepted it because
They didn't put
have
the
any
extra stress on you.
No, they
That's
didn't want
awesome.
to embarrass us also. And what really saved us was my parents' donut money. They didn't want anything in return. They don't want anything in return. It was just my parents' donut money. Think about that, making 3 cents, 5 cents to a donut. My dad and my mom have carpal syndrome,
Carpal tunnel?
because imagine like doing all the muffins and the scoops and how many I've done, and then the tongs picking up donuts and all that, and they scraped it all up, just saving us money, and they took out money from their house, remortgaged it, they already paid it off, and was able to just keep us afloat. And this is just we were barely like surviving, and then hit through so many issues and stuff like that. And so and then all bad press kind of
Bad press.
all press, all press is good press type of thing. When we first launch, we were getting some pretty good press and stuff, and then our first national press, it was from Esquire. The guy who's supposed to write the article was on vacation, and then he's like, you know what? He called one of his interns to write an article on about this thing, and she was very into craft.
About Skrewball.
About Skrewball. She's very into craft mixologies and all that stuff, right? And so then she wrote that says Skrewball whiskey is terrible.
So here's the thing, and this is the thing.
Except it was on ice cream as the nectar of God. So
yeah. So here, this is great that we're actually hitting this point. Like, you're an industry guy, I'm an industry guy. Like, I came up through the industry. I had a little bar called Classic Jack's, and that was the industry hub, right? Where, and I'm one of those people. But now in this mixology age, where it's been taken to, it's almost just like craft beer, right? There was a number of years there where there were people that were trying to take craft beer to where beer's not supposed to be, and it was in that pretentious, like everything's frowned upon.
Serve you on a brown bag.
Be like, it's fun.
Serve you on a brown bag and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what happened after that article?
And I was just like, oh my God, our first big press, and it was wrote by a very young, and I don't know if, she probably didn't know what to do with it, or kind of experiment. I don't know. But and then all of a sudden we got a email from this show. It's called The Today Show.
Yeah, I know The Today Show.
Pretty big in the States.
Calgary's not that small.
What's that?
I know.
Today Show, right? Al Rucker and a bunch of those guys.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, we saw this article. We want to see how bad it is. It's peanut butter whiskey. What is this, right? And so they're like, hey, we want to do a segment on it. It was They reach out to us, and we're 3 hours different, so we're on the West Coast. And they're like, can you get us someone delivered to us 6 o'clock in the morning so we could try it? We're like, how do I do that?
Let me guess, you drove it up.
We're from 6 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Oh man.
The next day from San Diego. It's the furthest from from across the states, right? And then I didn't have money to go. I didn't have money to go on the flights and all that stuff. So what happened was so Mike, his wife, works on a Alaskan airline. Mike is one of our brand ambassador bartender, one of my close friends. He got me flight vouchers, and I just took a red eye out there, right? And then because we're only available in San Diego at the time, and so
500 accounts in San Diego.
Yeah,
I think you're okay.
And so all of a sudden they want to try this, and then I was like, God, I hope I made it no delay, and I made it, and then I was able to hand deliver to them and all. I'm like, hey, you know what? If we'll do it, we'll try it. It'll go on, but if there's any breaking news or anything, unfortunately, we're not going. We have to go through it. All right, so no guarantee. So I didn't have any money for hotels and stuff. I was going to get a flight back, but I sitting in a coffee shop, right, just hoping that watching it live, hoping they'll bring it on. And unfortunately, there was a breaking news that happened.
Oh man,
so
what?
Breaking news that happened. And so
and this is just after the poor article from Esquire.
Poor articles on that breaking news happened, and we're just like, oh gosh. I mean, it's unfortunate. So I know it was a tragic event that happened also. And so I'm in this coffee shop, right? And it's freezing. It was in November or something, and it's cold. And they're like, dude, buy something or get out. And I'm just trying to stay there until I got my flights and stuff. And it was just the longest flight back, and we're broke and didn't get the breaks and stuff like that. We kept, and then we had no bottles, and then all of a sudden the government shutdown happened. So everything, we want to do some labels accounts, and stuff like that.
No bottles.
The
bad press for Esquire.
Yeah.
Use some of the last money to get out to the Today Show. Doesn't happen. Come back, and then COVID hits.
No, this is 2018.
Oh, this is when. And then what was the shutdown?
The government shut down, meaning they, if they don't agree to something, the government shut down. So all government agencies just shut it down. And so meaning the TTBs, the TTBs, people regulates and labels and all that stuff. If you want to change some stuff, they're shut down. So that was the longest shutdown ever. If you're transferring, if you're transferring goods and alcohol and bond and stuff, they should shut down. So but then we were persistent. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Is anything? We were persistent enough. So then they brought it on. So here's for example, so we would beat up at the bar at our hotel, and Craig literally single-handedly polished off their single whiskey. Yeah.
The peanut butter buzz on the Today Show.
So, but look at the article. Peanut butter whiskey was terrible. It's on there. It was
and how was it received on the show?
So check this out.
Oh, that's whiskey. Oh, that's delicious. That is really good. It's probably too sweet.
So from that bad press, and they're like, oh, that's delicious. Oh, that's whiskey I could drink. All of a sudden, our websites and our 1-800 number and all that got flooded. Where could I get this? TV was still big back then, it hadn't gone to streaming yet. And all of a sudden, it's like, where can I get it? It's only in San Diego. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of those bars, this is before Drizzly and all that. I don't know how they're doing. They're shipping it out. They were charging $100 a bottle.
What?
Shipping and everything included. We got about 5-6 independent liquor stores going through a pallet a week.
And a pallet for everyone out there. How many bottles would that be?
So a pallet we stack. There's back in the day. So wait, no, we didn't have. So we were actually didn't have money for pallets. So we going through backs of dumpsters and all of it, putting it together. So we stacked them 6 high. And I think it was 20 in each one. So
20 cases.
20 in each row.
Right.
So 6 high.
Wow.
5 or 6 high. I think 5 or 6 high. So it's a lot, So, but each case is, So each case is 6-pack. So.
And where is it at now? Or how many accounts are you in approximately?
I don't know. But so.
You don't know?
Yeah. And,
it's exploded that well.
I think so.
And
I think-
any credit, and I mean, big
And-
piece of credit goes to the Today Show people, right?
Yeah, and so after that, though, we couldn't keep it up, and then other people are interested in us, and then and then so we needed to be with a supplier to help us push, because even if you have a great
Agencies.
product, you need some relationships and some arms. You can't just go and be like, all right, go sell it. There's many great tasting product out there that never make it
Mhm.
successful. And then so then they have distributor relationship. They help us with the contracts and stuff like that, and then they were given so that time they lost Malfi gin, which went to Pernod Ricard, and they also lost Fratelli Branca. And so they were so a bunch of people were just trying to a bunch of their sales reps and people were putting resume elsewhere because they lost Fratelli. That was a big industry thing and a lot of their portfolio. And so and then they're like, hey, they're just trying to find something to build it up to replace those volume, right? But they didn't realize. And then when we did our first general sales meeting, we never been in general sales meeting. I've never said I don't know what it is, but all I know is they're boring as shit. But what I always try to do is make an impression. Anything we do and be inclusive, make sure majority of people could laugh at it. And I find that if you make fun of yourself, people will laugh at that more. So it's safer that way. And so, when we did our presentation, we've, they're like, dude, they're putting resume in a peanut butter whiskey. This is a
Your
joke.
presentation too, I apologize.
To this supplier that we were presenting to the
An
first
agency?
agency.
Yeah.
And then so they thought that the people are looking for a job elsewhere, right? Imagine this: they're known as carrying Fratelli Branca, Fernet Branca.
Mhm.
Now a peanut butter whiskey, right? This is like coming for polar opposites. And then we started the presentation, and it was emotional roller coaster of funny, laughing, crying at the same time. I mean, we gotten like, all right, we went back there and do a playbook. Let me go get a playbook, how to sell it. All of a sudden, like we were like tearaway pants and was handing out books with chaps and thongs on and stuff. It was just like crazy. And then when they tried it, they loved it. So Skrewball, it is so versatile how you make cocktails. And I'll think about peanuts, right? In Thai cuisine, right? In pad Thai or papaya salads, which is one of my favorite dish, is the note is sweet, savory, spicy, sour. Skrewball blends in that, right? Any classic cocktail, take away simple syrups, it works extremely well on that.
Amazing.
So after that, though, we started national distribution in 2019, late 2019, and then there's days will come like when my wife and I would go launch. I touch every single market, every state in there. I was there. My wife was pregnant, so the peanut butter was the glue that brought us too close. She was pregnant with another daughter, but she's out there pushing Skrewball, talking about whiskey.
Your second
I'm pretty
beautiful
sure
daughter,
they're
yeah.
like, okay, there's certain people be like, what is this Asian guy talking about whiskey? Does he know much about it? I couldn't grow facial hair for the life of me, right? They probably think I'm like some accountant or a doctor or a dentist. And then now you got a pregnant chick talk about whiskey, right? Up there in front of everybody and stuff like that. But you know what? The unsung hero is my mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law quit her job, and she traveled with us, watch our kid. At least we could see our daughter late nights. And really, I mean, we have long days. I mean, there's days.
So you've got your amazing parents.
Yep.
You've got this amazing couple that
Yep.
brought you guys over. You've got your third grade teacher, and then you've got your mother-in-law that drops everything she's doing so that she can give you guys like basically a amazing babysitter,
have a life. Yeah.
and have a life to get out and get this done.
Yeah, and then and so we went everywhere across the U.S. with her in a van. I mean, I could tell you all the road fried chicken I eat and where the best stop to go into and stuff like that. And we just get a modest hotel with 2 queen beds. We just share it with my mother-in-law and with the kids and everything. And we did that all in 2019. And then my daughter was born. My second one was January 13th, 2020. And I mean, I think now our team is about 10 people, 4 brand ambassador, 1 operator, 1 accountant, and marketing. And my wife delivered our second one, Sylvie, at 3 a.m. She was back on the computer at 9 a.m.
Your wife delivered your second daughter at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And then she was back on the computer.
We had to.
Pounding
We had
away at
nothing.
9 a.m.
Yeah, we had to, because everything's kind of rely on us. And then we were just
That
launching,
is-
and they need the they
Man,
just
that's
need
awesome.
the return. I mean, no, it sucks, but we have to. You know, she never got to be a mom and enjoy being a mom. That's one thing I regret. You know, and so then we got national distribution finally end of January 2020, and we have I was mentioning there's certain times I'll come home, we didn't have even money to pay for electricity back in 2019. So I mean, every money
How did you not have money to pay for electricity when
whatever
this was
we-
starting to take off?
every money we got in, it kept getting reinvest back, and then you have to kept getting more supply. And
So
get
was it
ahead of supply
reinvesting
change.
more in bottles, the screw
Bottles?
cap,
I mean,
the
we
labels?
bought like, for example, like what I learned now: never work with people who's judgment proof. So I mean, we have
Say that
learned
again. Never work with people.
who is judgment proof,
Yeah.
because it's like, what there's what I learned is that my wife is now pregnant for our third daughter, and but I've learned this, pregnancy is
Man, the peanut butter is
like
really bringing you
success.
guys together.
Success is like pregnancy. Everybody congratulate you, but they don't know how many times you've been screwed. We have just learned so many lessons and realized that there's a lot of bad eggs and apples out there. And we order like a million, like we got our custom made bottles, and then no one wants to really help you out. And then even though our volume we were crushing in San Diego and stuff nationally, but still very small volume. And then I mean, we got over $1 million worth of bottles. It turns out that more than half the bottle didn't even have holes in it. Holes like to
Holes
fill it in.
And was it because of the etched in screwball on the
No, it
side of the
didn't have
bottles?
holes in
Oh,
to
it didn't
fill,
have-
because
oh.
they didn't let it dry. It was a bait and switch. And the guy's just like, hey, you took it and stuff like that. There's nothing to do. I'm like, you never told us it need holes. I was like, it's a bottle to pour, stuff like that. And I mean, we just seen many bad, just gone through just bad apple, but also we met many amazing people also.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
you've got
just,
amazing people that surround you.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
you always hear that saying, you are who
Yeah.
you hang around with.
So
right?
March 2020 happened. We have $640,000 to our name now, and we're just like, this is great. Things are rolling. Bartend supporting us. Launch is going well. COVID hit. Well, like I said, our timing is impeccable in the worst way possible, right? And then now we're just like, crap. Everything's shut down. The bars and restaurants, especially the people who support us, now out of job immediately.
So here's an important question for COVID, because what a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like for everybody.
Yeah.
But when COVID hit, and this is important for people that, like, there's so many people that want to start a brewery, they want to start a distillery, they want, and they want to follow their dream. But when COVID hit, how many licensees did you have versus liquor stores? Because liquor stores, I don't know how it was, to be completely honest, and I apologize, in the US, but liquor stores in Canada, they thrive because
they thrive
every restaurant was
tremendously.
closed.
We had a split of about we were in about 30 plus percent on premise, and let's say 70% off premise, 30% on premise, which is high,
right?
And so we have a lot of industry support, and we actually believe building brand on premise. The bartenders, the servers,
Right.
We were like a lot of places, we were the official shifty of those bars and restaurants,
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I'm not sure where we're at. I think that we were national, and so I don't know how, maybe like 50,000 plus accounts.
Yeah, from state to state it was different.
50,000 plus accounts that we were in.
The restrictions
and
were different. Yeah.
And so when that happened, then we've end up my wife and I look at each other, and what we were taught. My wife came from extremely humble beginnings too. She grew up poor. Her dad was in the military. Her mom have a daycare, like just little kids, 4 or 5 kids. So they were just living paycheck to paychecks too. And so, and we always looked like, we were always taught, again, help people when they need help, come back to you tenfold. My wife and I look at each other like, you know what, the world's coming to an end. Let's go out with a bang. We donate $500,000. We had $640,000 name.
With.
So
yeah. two questions that I want to finish off with.
Yeah.
One, like, and this is the big one that drew me to Skrewball.
Yep.
The charity initiatives. What all are you involved in on the charity initiatives that you give back with? Like, and I know there's probably a massive list, but like when you think of major charity initiatives that you're giving back to, you know, and a lot of companies, they want to, or they try to get involved in the charities, but I know that you've really dug your heels in right back from that $10,000 check of winnings that you won back to the elementary school.
I mean, that for Miss Inning, it probably gave, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 already. Like, since from that time,
right.
It's not just like that one time.
Right.
And so, but the thing was that we don't really promote it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so for that, I mean, $500,000, a lot of it, you know, went to the bartenders and the service. We catered about 5,000 bags and would hand out cash during COVID time, in March 2020. There was no stimulus checks.
You gave $500,000 during COVID?
In March 2020, we had $640,000 donated. We gave about $500,000 of $640,000 for our name. The world was coming to an end. We're like, just enter it out.
So you had $640K to your name.
Yep.
You gave $500,000 away of it.
Yep.
To
the service industry.
To the hospitality industry.
Hospitality, restaurant associations, to
that's amazing.
A lot of just like
because I'm part of the Alberta Hospitality Association, and it erupted
core Sugar Restaurant Employee, awesome. The Giving Kitchens, and all that. And then we drove, and then and then so we were small, and we didn't put anybody out of work. We're like, you got two options: you stay home, help with social media, or let's go on the road and do something. So one of my favorite movies was Dumb and Dumber. I got a van, put shaggy carpet across, drove across, and now I have like a 5-month-old and another toddler, right? My wife's like, go out there, and you know what? Our momentum just stopped, and we just need to get some awareness. And our team, we have split two things, and then two groups. And the thing is that, you know, I'm going to ask, if I ask them to do something, I'm going to be with them. And so the thing I challenge them is, you have to do a random act of kindness every single day that we're there, or every single wherever we stop by.
And that's awesome that you say that random act of kindness every single day, because in this time of such negativity, and I always go back to like X and Twitter, but you know, for everyone that's out there, they always listen to those podcasts. They're watching YouTube, you know, for these online mentors, and all those online mentors say the same thing. Do an act of random kindness on a daily basis, but it's great to see someone doing it.
And you know, we stop by a lot of industry and tip them cash, and then you know what, from the Giving Kitchen to replenishing the food banks, where after we're remember, stimulus isn't there yet.
You're inspired,
and then we're getting like peanut butters and up and dropping it off, and then from there we just kept going and going. And just visiting all touchy states. There's many times we sleep in a van by the river like a true hobo, and didn't realize that year the only brand that grew faster than us in 2020 was Tito's.
Tito's was the only brand that grew faster than you, and you didn't even know.
Didn't do it.
Wow, man.
We were the fastest. Skrewball. So in the state, you know, the premium is $20 or more, and we don't have all that high taxes in a lot of them. Is that we're the fastest to 1 million case ever for over 20, fastest to 2 million cases also ever. So,
wow.
And so, you know, and so
fastest to 2 million cases ever besides Tito's.
No, Tito's took 20 plus years to get there.
Yeah.
It's not an overnight success.
Yeah.
And so, and that was, you know, so some of the charities that we've done, you know, like one of the stuff was like, you know, when I saw kids were getting polio, high in bomb shelters in Ukraine. And the thing is, we don't ever take sides. War sucks ever, you know. And then it's, you know, what's that saying that words about old men that know each other that won't have the balls to go kill each other, while young men don't know each other and go out there killing each other.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we're seeing that kids were getting polio, hiring bomb shelters, just giving me back those PTSD a little bit. And then so I look at my wife like, we haven't had a vacation in a long time. Do you care if we go to Europe? She's like, sure. Where do you want to go to? I was like, I really want to go to Poland, and I want to go to Warsaw, and I want to see how I could help. Met up with the mayor's office, got about 1,000 strollers. We put peanut butter in each strollers,
Oh,
and then
man.
we
That
helped
is
with the orphans, and then
awesome.
almost about I think it was like about 30 or 40 kids with the orphans, and then we got them like iPads. We got them physical therapies.
These
We
are the
got
kids
them-
that have been hit with polio now.
No.
Or
The refugees.
the refugees.
Because I was refugees, and so yeah, and my wife was like, yeah, let's do it. I want to support that. So some of the stuff that we like dropped off with the strollers and stuff, with the peanut butter on the jars and stuff like that, and just dropping off. So that was some of the stuff, and then last year we just partnered with Baylor Hospitals, and it normally takes about 10 months to get a prosthetics. We donated 6 figures for them to get for 3D printing machines, and now prosthetics are for people who are affected by the war and losing limbs, especially
Man.
kids, and was able to get it all done in an hour. There's took my kid over to the village where I was at earlier this year, and I was able to hand out cash to. I mean, the average income was about $700. We're able to give them a couple $100 each per families, and then the orphans at the orphanage. So a lot of it is like I feel kind of guilty talking about it because I never promote or talk about it much about it in the press or anything like that. So, but
so inspirational though, dude. That's why, like, honestly, like,
yeah.
When Jason gave me a bit of the background, I was like, no, this has to be told, especially during this time. Like, so when we work so hard, we get caught up in not knowing what's really happening out there, especially when there's so much negativity. You kind of block it out. But when these stories come along, these inspirational, positive stories, from your parents to the family that brought you over to, what you did during COVID with the money that you gave out, it's all. I don't even like to use the word inspirational. It's that reality that there is positive stuff that still exists out there. So let me ask you one last question, man. For all the entrepreneurs out there that ask what it takes, what would your 3 biggest points of advice be to any startups or anyone in our industry actually that is like looking at a distillery or a brewery or starting up a RTD company?
One thing is that there's so many out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're doing, right, doesn't cost money to give maximum efforts.
Maximum effort.
And it doesn't cost any money, right? And you have to stand out.
So I don't want to scare anyone out there. When we talk about maximum effort, in 1 week, how many hours are you talking about maximum effort? And I'm sure we're not talking about the same thing where it's going to be like you're doing 80 hours a week for the rest of your life. Like maximum effort, from what time period to what time period, especially while you're trying to raise a family.
I'm still working 89 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in pretty much in a new city, state, or country every 3 days. And so,
but you love what you do.
I do for the most part, but then you remember a lot of, when you have some staff and stuff, like a lot of their problem become your problem also, right? And there's a lot of bullshit stuff that we have to deal with. So when you succeed, then there's a lot of ankle biters. There's 52 peanut butter whiskey out there. Some of the biggest liquor company created like imitation brands with our logo sheeps and stuff like that, and we weren't in international, and so now we have to play catch up work, and so where there's brand confusions and all that stuff. But none of them have the story. None of them have why peanut butter. None of them took a decade to get to where they're at,
passion.
or their life story to get to it. And none of them have a face. None of them have a founder face to be like, hey, why we did it and all that stuff. My biggest, the thing that really just keeps me going is being able to change somebody's day without them expecting it. Just waking up, they weren't expecting it, and now we're able to make a difference to them. Amazing. Little or big and stuff like that. And that's what's really getting me going. And the thing is, like, trust, like the people that you trust and all that have them look out after you, right? Because once you made it, right, there's going to be many people, and there's people that could just fake it for as long as you need, and you're so busy, your judgment just, it's not the same anymore, right? Because everyone's trying to get a piece of you. And then the thing is, I said it many times today, is like, protect your yes with many, many no's, right?
Amazing.
Because you try to do many things, but you can't do all that, and you have to make sure you do it. You got to do it right, and you just can't just be all over the place on that.
Man.
And so, this is the world's first peanut butter whiskey, the best whiskey out there, I think, in the States. We're about 94% of all peanut butter whiskey, which is 54. There's about 54 plus peanut butter whiskeys out there.
Yeah.
And so,
When everyone laughed at you when you started this.
Yeah. I mean, I think what really bad, people laugh, and people like, I'm a very spiteful person, right? So that show Barmageddon, the owners out there, they were so cruel, so rude to my team, to my bartenders, right? She was coming in there with stiletto, and then and I was like, dude, who are stiletto in the bar where you're like, with the bar mats with the holes, scooping ice with a pint glass
I could name
and
you
stuff like
5
that.
nightclubs that I grew up in.
Yeah, but scooping pint glass with with pint glass, right, with ice, and you're like, and then it was just like, and then when I showed them this peanut butter whiskey Jameson, like, oh, that's peanut buttery, oh, that's disgusting, who would drink that? And then so Gallagher's is right across from them. I bought that bar as a spike bar, and I sold peanut butter Jameson strictly, and I did a bill of $1 million of that just in peanut butter Jameson right across from them. Peanut before I decided to bottle it as a spike
Good
bar.
thing we didn't know each other back then.
As a spike bar. So
I don't even allow picklebacks.
Like, literally across the street from that venue the Barmageddon, that owner that was mean to my team and said it was disgusting. Bought a bar across from them and put them out of business.
Well, dude, I'm inspired. I honestly am. Like, this is crazy. I'm so blessed that Jason let me know the story before, when you got into town. I'm thankful and, gratitude to you for taking the time to get this story out, because, I get asked, and I have a tick sheet, I get asked at least, 11 to 14 times a week, like, how are you doing it? How are you trying to survive through the craft beer industry right now? Because it's tough. It's tough. Our industry is hard. And, I think the one positive that came out of COVID for the public knowledge was that, restaurants right now, they're averaging, 3.5 to 6% profit line. That's it.
Tough.
It's a grind,
Yeah.
but we do it because we love it. You do it because you don't just love it. You love to give back because of everything that's, happened with you, from your family to that amazing couple that brought you over, to your wife dropping everything and committing herself to the business, your mother-in-law dropping everything and giving you guys a hand with the childcare so you could get this done. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for Skrewball, and I never thought I'd say I'd be pumped for a peanut butter whiskey. I mean, I was pleasantly shocked when I tasted it, and I was like, you know what, we'll take it on the menu, and it's done. It's going to do great. And man, thank you.
No, thank you, and I appreciate. I mean, just Ernie, I know that your parents probably went through hell just to get here, also.
Yeah, my grandparents.
So, and it's just, everybody have a story, and Skrewball is not the American dreams. It's not just American dream story. It's the ultimate underdog.
Yeah.
The ultimate, just kind of like, and I believe Calgary is a Skrewball of a town. They follow in our heart. They believe in what they stand up for, what they believe in, and so I can't wait to really see this Calgary turn to a Skrewball. And you know what? This is one of the most versatile liquor you will ever try. And the one thing that when we tried to get people to try it, those that tried it and decided to play with it, the word that normally come after it was delicious. Not many liquor could claim that.
Yeah, and crushable. Yeah, man, congratulations. And hey, I want to take the time, honestly, to thank Sean and Cass again for, allowing us to use their studio with you blasting into town. And these guys did it for us in short notice. And again, Canada's only podcast bar. I mean, it's full right now. It's awesome. So if you're in Calgary, make sure to check out Kaks Podcast Bar. And man, if you're an entrepreneur coming from town, make sure you book some time with Sean and Cass here at Kaks. It's awesome. It's just great to get these stories out there. So thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you so much for our opportunity, Cass. Thank you. This is brilliant concept, by the way. So.